Hi, it's me again with Corel Tips and Tricks, part 4 of this, and for surely the last one. We need to put in these lines, and we don't want them touching the feathers. So this other line is going to be kind of useless. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a 3-point curve line. We don't want them touching the feather because we don't want, so I just drew a line. Now I'm going to take the shape tool and manipulate a little bit to try to get it a little bit more to the shape of the feathers. Get that handle. And I think that's going to be about good. Now what I'm going to do is hit the plus key on the keyboard and mirror it, and then take that feather and go right to that point, maybe even a little bit closer. And I'll make a bridge. I'll change it up a little bit. Take the shape tool, bring this over here. We don't want our blue lines or what's going to be black to be touching. So we're going to take the virtual segment delete key and delete that right there. Now I'm going to do these tools a little bit differently. So I'm going to move them out of the, whoop, I must have grouped it together. So I'm going to go to object group and ungroup it. And I'm going to grab my tools, the shaft and the tool, and then I'm going to take the smart fill tool. And if you see there's no gold line going through there anyway, so I'm going to take the smart fill tool and make that shape right there. Then I'm going to move it over and down, and I'm going to left click, right click, and then I'm going to go ahead and delete this other line. And delete my other line, because I don't think we want those lines. Now I can move this back for a second, just kind of see how it looks, and it looks pretty good. Now, because we've nudged the whole time, we're going to take this biggest line and try to basically just trace it. You know what? Maybe it'd be better to just take the 2-point curve line or 2-point line and do that, and then grab it all, right click and turn it into a curve. And then I'm going to double click right there and kind of bring that down. I'm just trying to mimic that bow that I grabbed the blue. I'm going to turn this into a cusp. That way it just change, well, maybe I didn't put a node there. I want to put a node there, and that's a cusp, as I can just, that doesn't look too bad. And you got to remember it's yours drawing. So I'm going to take that line and I'm going to move it down. See, it mimics that pretty good. Now I'm going to move that over, try to grab that red line and move it over. And there's our line. Of course, it's not touching, so I'm going to just move that over to there. I think everything else is touching. I'm not going to delete those lines. Now I'm going to take the Smart Fill tool, set it on black, and I'm going to make a plus key on the keyboard and just kind of move it up. And you'd want to take some more time and maybe get it perfect. I hit the plus key again. I'm going to go ahead and fill that in, Smart Fill tool on that, and move it down. And you could make this more perfect. Hit the plus key on the keyboard, move it down. I'm hoping I'd group this together because I really want to get this stuff out of the way. I'm going to move my tools down. I'm going to grab that and move it over. Grab our wordage and move it over. Because I really just want that inner part. I'm going to grab my feathers and move them over. Now, I'm going to go ahead and left click, right click. And that line here needs to be all the way. So I'm going to make, I don't really want to make it bigger because I don't want to change the curvature. That looks pretty good. I don't know why I have so many nodes right there. Well, it's a little bitty piece of line. Doesn't really matter, but I'm going to go ahead and delete it. Now I'm going to take my Smart Fill tool. Tell you what I'm going to do is, before I do that, I'm going to group this together, Control G. And I'm going to take, and see these things are might not be evenly spaced, but you could do a better job on that. Now I do want this line because I want to make it something that 1.14. That looks pretty good. I'm going to delete these. Now what I want to do is put these out of the way for just a second. And I'm going to group them together. And I'm going to left click, right click. Now I'm going to bring in my toolage. I don't know what happened to my tools. Oh, there they are. I must have moved them over here. Okay, but I don't want those lines touching my tools. And I really ought to fix that one tool, but I'm not going to worry about it. So I'm going to nudge those up and over. Whoop. I know this might be confusing, but once you kind of start thinking about it, it really makes up sense. Hit the plus key on the keyboard and move that over. And I'm going to left click, right click. I'm going to go up to Object, and I'm going to group them together. And then I'm going to get the Effects tool in Contour. I'm going to contour the outside. That's going to be too much. Maybe not quite so much. So let's go 0.035, just guessing. And now I can take and break my contour apart and move my contour up and over. And I can delete these. We're almost done, folks. This way, those lines won't be mixing in with our tools. For some reason, I got some really sharp points on that contour. But you get the idea. We need to clean up these tools before we did anything, because the contour tool is going to over dramatize that. You could do it. I think it's just because we need to fix that, but you could fix it right now just by taking this and going like this, and maybe even taking out a couple of those nodes. Same thing on here. I would go through and fix the tool, because that's why it's contoured like that. I think that would engrave on glass pretty well. I think it looks better. I think the feathers look better. Anyway, I sincerely hope that helped him, and thank you for watching.